Hello and welcome to Domain to Profit. I am Drew Wash and I am here to talk to you about domain names. And you might be like, hey, what's the big deal about domain names? Well, I'll tell you what, domain names, I've spent over $1.4 million buying domain names and developed just a couple of those domain names into businesses that make millions. And for the last 146 weeks, I've been coming here to you live every Monday to look through expiring domain names, looking for the best possible domain names that you'll be able to buy at auction to turn into your future fortune. So why do I do that? Well, I can't buy them all, and I only look and bid on specific domain names, but there's plenty of opportunity for everyone, and I can't buy them all, but even more specifically than that, I can't develop them all. So I come here each Monday for the last 140 some weeks to talk about expiring domain names on a site similar to this, expireddomains.net. We will be looking through this site, searching through hundreds of thousands of domain names that are expiring this week, meaning the old user, the old owner is letting them go, and you have the opportunity to buy some amazing domain names. And it's not for me. I have nothing in this other than you being able to do great things with domain names like I have, which is pretty cool. Okay, and it's all free. Even this site is free. It's all free. So there you go. The limitation is this. I'm only doing this for 150 shows. So we are down to our final 4 shows before I break for summer, and then we'll come back with something new on the other side. So as you come in to Domain to Profit, it's not just me, it is a community of others that also look to expiring domain names, look for the best ones to either buy and sell or to develop into a future opportunity. So make sure that if you are over on YouTube especially, say hi. Let the chat know that you're here. Let all these great people know that you are joining us. And with that said, we will get this party started with our music once I do this. See you after this. Well, I am back. We are back, and now it is time to get into the meat potatoes of the stream, which means it is time to look through some expiring domain names. So as we do this, we're going to be over here. This is expireddomains.net, and let me put up a QR code in the corner. Bing! Yep, right up there. You can scan that QR code and it will take you to a video that shows the filters that we use to generate this list here. Basically, it is Marketplace, GoDaddy, Expired Domains, and then this showed filter option up here. And we show you the filters we use. There's hundreds of thousands of domain names. We use our filters to get it down to 106,000 domains that we're going to be looking at. Then once we have them all pulled into the system, we then order by the valuation right over here. The valuation is not the value. It is a number that GoDaddy applies to a domain name to kind of help people know if it's a good one. It's a comparison more than anything else. If you treat it as the value of the domain name, you will go broke. You will make bad decisions. Treat it only as what it is and order by it, which is what I'm doing right now. Once we order by that value, we are ready to get this party started and see what opportunities we find this week. So as of this point, we pull up the list and we go through this list of domain names. These are domain names that are expiring over the course of the next week. That means that these are only available this week. So if you're watching this on Restream, that means you may have missed these domains. The information and the why and the how to look for domain names is timeless, though. Well, at least will be valid for a few years, hopefully. So. And right there on top, you'll see bestsupplements.com. Not really my thing, but for anybody who's ever read the 4-Hour Work Week, you ever read the 4-Hour Work Week? Pretty good book by Tim Ferriss, and it talks about, well, starting businesses or multiple businesses and living that retired life a little bit, living and working 4 hours a week. What a boring life that would be. Anyhow, long story short, he talks about one of his first businesses was selling supplements. Bestsupplements.com, probably a pretty good domain name to launch that. I'm sure he would have loved to have had this domain name. So how do you know if it's a good domain name? Sure, this guy, yeah, I might be on your screen right now telling you that Best Supplements seems like a pretty good domain name, but I don't want you to trust my opinion or really anyone's opinion. I want to help you develop the skills, develop the criteria so you can turn a domain name into, so you can find the right domain names and not waste your money. I've wasted thousands, tens of thousands, potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars buying the wrong domain names to get to the place where I am confident in the domain decisions I make. But ultimately, those decisions are best for me. It doesn't necessarily mean they're best for you, so you have to modify as we go along. But here's one of the sites that we use to kind of judge a domain name by its data, by its merit, more than just somebody's opinion, more than your gut feeling. And what we do is, because we are only looking at .com domain names, if you were to put all the different extensions that are out there, .net, .org, .io, .xyz, whatever it is, if you were to put all the domain names into a big pyramid, right on top with the little flag would be .com. It is the top domain name extension. It's the one that everybody knows. Therefore, that's the only ones we look at. Otherwise, you get into really complicated stuff. So here we go. We're going to search for these and pull this up on SpyFu. And I'm going to get my screens set up to where I can do that. So, 1 second. And voila. There we go. So this is SpyFu. It's one of the tools that we use to look through expiring domain names, more specifically the keyword data behind the domain name. In this case, bestsupplements.com, the keyword is best supplements. So instead of me saying, hey, I think that's a good domain name, you might be interested in buying it, what you can do is now we can see, hey, look at this. There are 2,600 monthly searches for the keyword best supplements. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And then more specifically, we also get to look at the other similar keywords, which some cases these are more important than the exact matches, which we will test by doing, we highlight the words, do a Control F on your keyboard, and what that does is it allows you to see some other keyword combinations that use our exact phrase. Exact is the main thing. We want to see our exact phrase because that means that we represent the authority, the validation, and everything needed for our domain name to matter. For example, voila, in this case we have best supplements for men. If you were to target best supplements for men, don't you think bestsupplements.com might be a good keyword or a good domain name to own to target that? Yes, is the answer. So that is why we do that test. So in addition to the 2,600 for just best supplements for men, and I'm guessing if you were to do this view all here, you'd find thousands of other keywords related to best supplements that have to that would use best supplements for it. So then from there, Probably the most important data that we look at when we're on SpyFu is this here. This is the money information. Not only can we see how many times people are searching for best supplements or for the keyword of our domain name, we can also see how much they're paying per click to get a visitor for that topic, and then how many people are paying it, which is the advertisers right there. I like to see cost per click at $2 or more and advertisers at 10 or more. Those are the ones that really get me like salivating and really looking to purchase a domain name or go all in and put a good amount of money behind it. In this case, the money is not really looking all that great. So advertisers, there's people paying 30 cents. That's kind of low. It's because it's a product. Product domain names are not, I don't play in product domain names necessarily. I prefer service-based domains. But if you play in product domain names, maybe you want to create a website on bestsupplements.com. Maybe you want to create a domain name, or I'm sorry, a website on this domain that lists the best supplements with affiliate links. That would be one way to do it. You could also create one to where different supplement manufacturers can pay to be featured on the site. Treat it kind of like a service, so you're not actually providing or selling anything. You are instead using your domain name to help advertisers reach an audience. In this case, I'm not really liking that business model. I think affiliate marketing is probably going to be the way to go. Use that great domain name to get a higher click-through rate and so on in your ads. So there you go, 2,600 monthly searches, not bad. That domain name is currently, got my tabs all mixed up, ends in 7 days, already $530, and you can see that it ends right up there. I'm gonna go ahead and add that to my watch list. I don't personally mess with product domain names. One, I'm just curious as to what it's gonna go for. I anticipate that it will go for a few $1,000s at least. However, if it's under $1,000, I will be bidding on the domain name. So back to our list, and I do have GoDaddy up because I'm going to share the domain names I've been buying over the last few weeks. Mostly a bunch of buy now domain names. So stay tuned. Towards the end of the show, I'll be running through that. I know it's always fun to see how somebody else spends their money. I like that too. I'm going into my filters real quick. I want to change one of the things, a filter that we started to add is I wanted to get rid of, let me get it up on the screen here. Why is that not showing up? There we go. So right up here where it says registrar, I want to get rid of Enum as a registrar. Basically, their domain names a lot of times show up for auctions, but they do not actually close. All that to say, I don't bother to bid on them very often unless they're in the last day, so we don't talk about them on the show. So just wanted to get rid of those. You can follow along with me. Look at this, golfcenter.com. Not a bad domain name for sure. So nice to be back in Cincinnati, Ohio. That's where the home office is. Last week I was in Navarre Beach, Florida. So here we go. We got golfcenter.com, $2,175. And you might, if you're new to domains, might think that's a large amount. I don't know. That's probably a pretty good price for this so far. I expect it to go for significantly more, and I'll show you why here in a second. I expect that we will see thousands and thousands of keywords with some advertisers and so on. And this is one of those domain names in an industry that we love to play in. What kind of industry is that? I love domain names in markets specifically where it's discretionary income. We want to have domains. So I love travel. I tell a story about some of the domain names I own in motorcycle related stuff. I've never rode a motorcycle, but I know that people that own motorcycles, it's not typically because they're fuel efficient. It's because they have the extra money and they want to have it like their status symbol or something. So they have motorcycles, discretionary income, that extra money they have to spend. Golf is one of those things. So let's go check it out in SpyFu. SpyFu, and this is spyfu.com, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that at the top of the show. So what we do is when we're doing these keyword searches, we drop the .com and we're only searching for the keywords that are in the domain name exactly. And if you notice, I'm copying and pasting. That's a good trick, just to avoid typos as well as other invalid characters and things that sometimes pop up in domains that, if you're not familiar with, can catch you and cost you money. I once bought a domain name with like an asterisk over the E or something, or an accent, I guess. Control F. Okay, here we go. So on this domain name here, you'll see up there we only have 270 exact searches. That's on the low side, right? Not really digging that. We just saw supplements, best supplements, which had a few thousand. But over here, you'll notice for best supplements, we only really had a couple domains that highlighted. Now, when we are highlighting and doing the search for best supplement, or I'm sorry, for Golf Center, right, lights up like Christmas up in here. Disc Golf Center near me. Golf Center near me. You know I love the near me. I'll talk about that here in just a moment. As well as it looks like a bunch of Family Golf Center, Royal Oak. So some specific locations as well. Let me just focus one moment on this here. Golf Center near me, 1,300 searches. I love the near me. Remember how just a moment ago I told you I don't deal with products very often. I like local services, or specifically services. Golf Center near me means people are looking for that service in their local area. Ding, ding, ding. If I had a bell, I'd be ringing it. That means that we can implement the local Legion 300. Local Legion 300 is basically you find one customer, one golf center that's willing to pay you to be a member featured in their city. And why 300? Because there's over 300 cities in the United States with a population of over 100,000 people. Usually in a larger city like that, you can count on there being, what, at least one golf center, right? Maybe not Montana or something. Anyhow, no ad lib on that. So Golf Center near me, 1,300 searches. Love that. Now we just implement the local Legion 300, get our first 300 customers, which I say that as if it's an easy thing. It is not. It is brute force. We're going to have to probably make 30,000 calls or 3,000, leads. Basically, you have to work your tail off to get those 300, but you can get 300 loyal customers that see the benefit of golfcenter.com and being able to use it to show up in their city. So there you go. Golf Center near me, 1,300 searches for that. Now, this is a little bit of a bummer. Especially seeing how we're already seeing good money showing up for it. Cost per click, 65 cents, well below our $2 per click. And advertisers is 0, which I'm a little surprised by that. In fact, I'm so surprised that I want to go and just Google it real quick. Yeah, sure enough, that's rather shocking. I guess golf courses don't necessarily advertise. I guess not. Okay, so there's no advertisers. So usually there's ads up at the top of Google here. That's not the case for this. That means that you're probably going to have to count on this being a little bit more of a struggle. One of the reasons we look at on SpyFu, we like to see this number at 10 or more, is that means there's a lot of competition. When there's a lot of competition, that means people are willing to take risks and try new things, and they're looking for any specific angle that allows them to show up higher or get business versus their competition. Because that's not the case here, because there's 0 advertisers, 0 people paying Google to show up, that means that you are going to probably need to find and compete even more to pull some advertising dollars out of those golf centers. So I don't like that. Let me close this tab because I keep opening the wrong one. But $2,175 current bid, 5 days left on that one. Out to my watch list just to be a spectator. I'm already out on that. I wanted to see this one be under $2,000 for me to be participant. Therefore, I am out. But we have plenty of other domain names to look at for sure. I love hearing all your, yes, the near me. I lose my mind. And I'll tell you what, I'm this close to placing just a small bid. I'm talking myself in to like $2,500 for Golf Center. I know it's going to end up going for 4 to 6K. It's that discretionary income piece. People tend to, when it's in these kind of like gambling, like those discretionary income type things, they go for just so much money. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I may end up placing a bid, just maybe not live. So, but yes, because I see that near me, I lose my mind. I also see some of those. Some of you out there talking. We're up over 900 subscriptions, which is very cool. And I would love, and if you can help me do this, I would love to hit 1,000 subscribers. It's been a goal back when I started this show. Can we possibly get the last 100 over the last 5 weeks of the show or so? That's going to be tough, but hey, if you're willing to help in somehow, the thing is I don't really care about the quantity as much as I want people that either care about domain names or care about business, develop them, making money through the internet. You have to kind of be all in. I love you all, and I don't want to bring in a bunch of people that don't care. So thank you all for being here. But nonetheless, it was a goal to get to 1,000, still is. CreativePower.com. It's not bad. I like that one. Tech Bytes. I actually used to own a domain name similar to that. I thought of it like a blog. I can't remember which one I owned. But those are brandable more than anything else. The way I like to look for domain names as I'm looking down through this list, I like domain names that when I see them, it paints a picture in my head of what should be on that domain name. And the picture needs to be like color by number is what I say. So the outline should be there. Everything should be laid out. The question is what flavor are you putting on it? Like, here's some green, here's some red. You're just coloring by number. If like Creative Power, that can be 100 million different things, which means that domain name has some value. The only thing is what? If you're passionate about Creative Power, then sure, you could put something on it, but it's going to cost you probably some good money to get that domain name. And so yeah, and you also find, which we may see in a couple domain names down the road, when we type that into SpyFu, like Creative Power, it's going to have very little, if any, exact match searches, and we want to see exact match searches. We want to see the data. So like Change It, for example. I love that. What a great domain name. That one almost crosses into a marketing domain name. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it and pull it up. Change It. $3,600 already, so others are aware of it. I just want to see if there's exact match searches for it. So what would they be searching for though? Can you judge their intent? Change it? I don't know if I can come up with it. 1,600 exact match searches for it. Let's see here. Looks like I'm seeing some weird stuff here. So while we have 1,600 exact match searches here, what year did FFA change its name? Like, it's basically part of questions. Could be fun to develop out, but I don't know how you would necessarily make money. And you'll see down here, this is what we're used to with these marketing or just generic domains. There's nobody actually paying to target it. So somebody can use a domain name, think a blog or content or company name, but what does it paint? We need it to be a clear picture of what's going to be on that domain name in order to truly be able to establish a value and go after something with hundreds or thousands of dollars to buy it. If that is not there, you are speculating, you are guessing, you are hoping that the winds of money, time, change, domain name, it's a lot of hope. and it works out for many of us. I've sold many domain names similar to changeit.com, but it's going to cost you a good amount of money, and then you're going to be sitting there hoping, and you're hoping that you're going to sell it for more. It's a very common thing. Many of us do it, but I look mostly for the domain names that we can develop, things that are almost like sure thing. You take this domain name, you build it out, you color by number, and you can generate revenue. Those are the ones that I'm looking for. Insolvent.com, kind of a fun domain. Vegan pizza. Vegan pizza is fun. It's a product though. Man, we're looking at some expensive domains. They're good domains, they're just expensive. $200 currently, that's not bad. The reason why I consider it expensive is because it's $200 and there's 6 days left. That means it's going to gain traction. It's going to end up being probably a $1,600 domain name. That's my estimate versus anything else. Going to copy that and go to SpyFu. All my tabs are in the wrong order, and it is causing me to get things wrong. Oh, here we go. This is what we like to see. Again, it's a product, so as we go scroll down to see the money, you're going to probably see, I could be wrong, you're going to probably see kind of crappy money. But vegan pizza, there you go, 13,000 exact match searches. So people are looking for this. What do you expect to find on veganpizza.com? Well, I'm guessing some recipes for doing it yourself, maybe some mail order frozen pizzas or brands that are featured in certain areas, something along those lines. Let's see. We can also kind of get a vibe for it by doing the Control F. Yep, that's what look at that. Guess who's happy? Drew's happy. Vegan pizza near me. So now we're starting to get into restaurants, different pizza companies or restaurants that have vegan pizza options. 59,000 searches for vegan pizza near me. That's a pretty good amount of money. I'm sorry, pretty good amount of volume. Vegan pizza delivery near me. So these are people looking for the restaurants, which that gets into that local service piece, which I like. I like it. This is the part that I was kind of anticipating because it's kind of that product area. The advertisers is zero. Usually you see very low amounts, if not zero. But you'll see up there though, $2.91. So when people are paying, they're paying a good amount of money to compete for this. We see that occasionally, like no advertisers, but a high amount cost per click. It basically means that the money, like it's hard. This keyword does not clearly paint a picture on that canvas is what that is saying. It's saying people are willing to pay a lot around vegan type stuff, but this keyword does not have clear enough intent for people to be advertising at it in quantity. And it's probably exactly what we've talked about. I consider it a product domain name, but you'll see a lot of the similar keywords like vegan pizza near me. Those are service type domains. So how do you categorize this domain? The key thing is there's a lot of people searching for it. So if you own the property, veganpizza.com, now you get to define what veganpizza.com is. You can choose to go the local service route or the product route, and then you get to maximize the revenue for your business that you're choosing. For example, in this case, if you went the local Legion, now you're showing pizza restaurants and you're charging the monthly fee or something. Once you specify your business model, suddenly the advertisers go up. That cost per click matters because the intent is your website shows vegan places that you can get pizza near me. Because you've established the intent, now people can trust advertising or trust what the purpose of that website is, and you can work on search and optimization and so on. But you can clear that up for the users, more specifically your advertisers' clients. I'm probably out on that one. Let's see here. It's over to, I mean, I like it. I'm definitely going to be up to 1,000 on it. Because it's low, I'm not going to bid on it yet. I'll add things to my watch list and then come back to them later. Okay, let's see here. BitNow, computer fix, and like the word computer almost doesn't get used much. If we wanted to, we can go to trends.google. We would probably see a decline in the word computer. I don't like to buy domain names with keywords that are in decline. It's probably leveled off, but we'll see. I'm not going to look into it, but computerfix.com, fix a computer, fix it. You can look into it if you're interested in it. Premium cleaning. I like ing as an ending of a domain name, hence why towing.com is my most valuable. Is it the most valuable? It's the most profitable domain name. I think it's close to my most valuable, only because the business is associated with it. But ing, the why, there's no plural. When you get into plural domain names, for example, greencleaner.com, which is another good one. We'll check that one out here in a moment. Greencleaner.com, what about green cleaners? If you're talking about products, you might be better off with green cleaners, right? Green cleaner and green cleaners, they share the value of the keyword green cleaner. The value over that keyword segment is split between those, between singular and plural, where when you look at a domain name like towing, there is no towings. I'm sure somebody out there owns a domain name, but it's worthless. Towing.com is both singular and plural. It's the action and defines the industry. That is why I love ing. They're just not very common. But for example, cleaning.com would be the best clean related domain name there is. Cleaning.com. That's what you want. Like, if you can get it, if it makes sense, listen to it, do the search, keyword searches. So premium cleaning, though, I'm not a huge fan of it. Sounds like one of those domains that somebody had to add a word to just to make it work. But premium cleaning, you can type it into the Spy Food, maybe it'll work out for you. Let's keep on moving. Tropical. I don't know if that's actually, so here's a good example of why we need to do a copy and paste up. This is that opportunity to mention the domain names that we are looking at are expiring domain names, and domain names can be renewed. So in cases, these domain names, up until about the third day before the end of the auction, they can often be renewed. So you'll see here, this domain name has been renewed. It's no longer available, no longer up for auction. This is one of the reasons why we do not look at the domain names listed as enum, is in most cases they are pulled back, so we don't waste time on them here on the show. But there you go, tropicalislands.com is no longer available. And I love it. Thank you all for in the chat. You're also encouraging and asking everybody to like and subscribe and stuff. I appreciate you doing that. It's I don't do it to the camera very often, but I do appreciate you all doing it. You make this show. So now I get to look at domains instead of doing the whole YouTube thing, which is, I'm here for the domains. I'm here for the domains. I want the YouTube subscribes and stuff, but the priority is the domains. Greatest gifts. Greatest gifts. We'll go check it out. So again, highlighting the domain name, copying it, pasting it over here as a keyword, adding in the spaces, dropping the .com, obviously. So greatestgifts.com, it sounds good. I'm a sucker for the duplicate letters, great gifts, what is that, assimilation, assimile, I believe is what they're called. I never look it up. I think I say this like every fourth show. The greatest gift, I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking of with the whole greatest gift thing. Probably no money, no advertisers, just maybe a fun domain name. Maybe you can turn it into a blog about all the things you're thankful for. In fact, I'm going to close that one down. Daily Energy, certified insurance, sounds like a thing, probably not though. Gin specialist, that one sounds like me. I am a gin specialist. 5 days left. I'm not going to go into the keyword data. I'll add it because I like gin. So I have a couple specifically. My boy Chaz, or Coaster Gabi, or Coaster G. He always buys me my favorite gin, which is out of Virginia. It's Green Hat. So anyhow, but I love my gin. I don't love it. Anyhow, okay, moving on. StimulusCheck.com. Something tells me StimulusCheck.com has been used as a spam or scam site as of some point in the past. I have no idea what you would use it for, but it's always a buzzword. Stimulus check, $333, ends in 7 days. Let's go check out the keyword just for the fun of it. Like, just imagine if you owned StimulusCheck.com, how much traffic and search volume. People just like every time the government does something and they're like, stimulus check. Next thing you know, everybody's, this right here. Look at this. That's just ridiculous. 284,000 people. What would you put on it though? How could you turn this into a business? How could you turn this into something that's legit? We want it to be legit. We're out to bring value to the world, not take advantage of the dummies of the world. So StimulusCheck.com. Here's what I could see it as. Maybe a financing company. I could see that. Like be your own stimulus. Be your own stimulus type of thing. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm guessing whoever's going to get it is going to look for the scammy direction. Well, look at that though. There's actually people. So here's what do you put on this domain name? Well, this right here. So go check out what these 9 advertisers are doing, advertising for StimulusCheck.com, and then build a website that allows them to advertise on you. So there's competition. They're trying to reach this keyword. In fact, let's go type it in. I am guessing they're like financing type stuff. No, that's no advertisers. It says there's 9, but okay. So there you go. There's no advertisers here. Maybe it's other search engines or something, but maybe Google doesn't allow them to do it. Okay, well, big numbers though for stimulus check as a keyword. That's what we got to see. Over 200,000. I mean, the keywords here are giant. 284,000 exact matches, as well as if we did a control F, all of this here would also be available to you as a search engine optimization type of thing, trying to target those keywords. Don't do it though. There you go. Don't do it. Don't go after stimulus check. Nothing good's going to come of it. Exactly. 1,400 and like they gave all kinds of free money away, and that's the reason why I'm guessing at some point this domain was used for scam purposes. I don't know that. You can go to our archive.org and look at the websites that were on it in the past, but still, it's going to go for thousands of dollars to get this domain name. It probably has a toxic history, and most likely has a toxic future. Don't get into it. Yeah, we got Match the beer guy. Yeah, I can see it. He's definitely the beer guy. A little bourbon, right? A little bourbon also. The question is, do you own a domain name related to your alcohol or recreational narcotics? Recreational drug usage? I don't know. I own cannabis domains. I don't own any gin domain names, I don't think. House renovations. Damn, man. Home renovations would be a baller domain name. I'd probably be putting 5 figures into it. House renovations. No, probably not. Let's see, though. We'll go check it out. 6 days left on the auction, $229. So here's the thing. If you were to go to GoDaddy right now and search for home renovation, house renovation, you would find that all the domain names available suck. There's nowhere anywhere close to houserenovations.com. I don't like house renovations. That's the wrong word for this phrase, which is why the keyword volume up there is so low. If you do a search for home renovations, through the roof, I'm sure. Huge, huge numbers. In fact, we might see it down here. Actually, it's not even as good as what I expected. Home renovations, 4,100 searches. But this is pretty good. 5 advertisers, over $3 per click. House renovations. House renovations. I'm making a decision about whether I would want to mess with it. I'm going to add it to my watch list. The numbers that I'm seeing here on SpyFu, a little bit of what's going through my head. The exact match is low. The keyword is not perfect. And a general rule for me is if it's an almost domain, so it's almost great, then it usually means it's not worth much. Here's what I'm seeing, and here's why I'm still interested in the domain name a little bit. When we do a Control F, there's really nothing highlighting here. When we go to singular, though, we start to see some other keywords pop up, some of which I'm a huge fan of. For example, my house renovation and house renovation near me. Singular is by far more popular. That means this is an almost domain name. You got to watch out. There's singular, plural. The valuation. So say that house renovation, Drew doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, and house renovation as a keyword is brilliant. It's worth $100,000 in value. That $100,000 in value, for example, in just fictional number, it is going to be divided up between the singular and the plural in some percentage. When I look at this domain name, say that it was worth $100,000, home renovations, the plural in this case is 1/10 the value of house renovation singular, if that makes sense. So you're saying this domain name is like kind of peak at $10,000 where the singular is peak at $90,000 in the fictional $100,000 example. So now you have to figure out what is house renovation worth based on the numbers here. I would see the entire market for house renovation, not a good keyword. This is an almost domain name. We are walking on a line here. So don't go diving after this domain name unless you are really close to the industry. I don't even know if I'm going to mess with it. Let me try to come up with a value that's actually based on the numbers here. 5 advertisers divided by 2, so it's 1/3, 2. I mean, you're talking total house renovation number, 1,800. I mean, you're looking pretty much like $1,800 total for the 2, according to a developer's valuation. So $1,800, 90% of which is going to go toward the singular versus the plural. Can you make more money off of it to justify a higher amount? Probably. Basically what it comes down to is you got to get this domain name at a value, otherwise you're going to waste money. What is the value? 229. I will probably take it up to, I will bid, I don't know if I'll cross 4 figures. Which you might think, whoa, Drew, you're saying it's not a good domain name, but you're taking it all the way up to potentially $1,000. And the answer I have for you on why I would do that is I need a good home renovation related domain name. And this would be what I would consider a beachhead domain name. It is how I am placing, it's a domain name I can get that will allow me to attack a larger industry in hopes that I can grab a great domain name down the road when I've already started to make some money from the smaller one. So that's what I'm playing at there. So 1,000, up to 1,000 feels like something I can go after. What would most people, it's just a cheap domain name that I'm willing to put a little extra behind. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that helps you out a little bit. See the process that I'm running through in real time, because that's what I'm doing here. I'm looking through these domain names in real time with you. There's nothing prepped. We are looking through the same domain names. I have no advantage over you in the auction. So it's kind of whoever pays the most wins, and that's that. CommunityTalk.com. Drew, oh, I thought that said Drew Pay. I thought that was Drew Pay. That would be fun. Pay Drew. Communitytalk.com, back in the old day of, man, my brain just, forums, like forums and things. That'd probably be a pretty good one there, Community Talk. Cannabis systems, speaking of recreational drugs, Gardenful. That's going to be a good brandable domain name. What is a brandable domain name? We don't talk about them often here on Domain to Profit. Brandable domain name is something that you can build anything on. In fact, let me pull up the graphic. We haven't shown it in a while. Let me duck behind. Actually, I just showed it last week, I think. So this here is this is what a domain name is. The gray box, think of it as the land that you can build on. Any domain name, you can build on any domain name that's out there. That is why there's a building called U Inc. on it. That is a domain name that you can build on any domain name out there. Doesn't matter the extension, anything else. What we look for here on Domain to Profit are domain names that you can drill down and you can find oil. You can strike gold in the value of that domain name. Any domain can be built on, but only certain domain names have value underneath, authority, validation, access to an industry. That's that color by number, and that's what we are looking for, which realistically, we do not find that with this one, Gardenful. What's the color by number? It has something to do with garden, but it's probably more or less a brandable. Now, as you get into a brandable, you're saying it's a domain name that you can build a brand on. You can build your building on top of it, and it's going to be Gardenful Inc. on top of it. So one way you can tell if it's a brandable is, well, it won't have very good keyword search. So here you go, brandable. Nobody's searching for it because nobody's defined what Gardenful means. There you go. Like, nobody's defined what it is. There's not going to be any money. Boom, no money. And in some cases, a brandable might have keyword searches, but it's because somebody else is defining a similar or exact match trademark. And that's the word you have to watch out for. When you mess with trademarks and brandable domain names, if somebody owns a trademark, you got to worry about legal fees and people suing you and all these things. That is why I like to go for the domains that are generic and have the oil underground that we can target. Gardenful, though, I will say my wife loves to garden, so maybe there's something there, just not for me. Okay, let's go back to chat on my screen here. Looking up, let me see, El Couch. Off topic, that sounds fine by me. It's the topic of domains. Off topic, any other notice that GoDaddy Discount Club domain went way up trying to get my grandfather promised discount as a former employee in 2004, but can't seem to do so this year. I'm not part of the discount club. Actually, to be truthful, I believe that I have some kind of volume discount, so I don't know. I don't pay for the discount club. I don't think discount clubs are weird to me. I don't want to keep my domains with GoDaddy really all that much. They do great for these auctions, but as far as a registrar, they're kind of a pain in the butt. Unfortunately, they're probably one of the best ones out there. And I say unfortunately because I feel like if you're going to be the best or almost the best, I would like to think that almost the best would be better than what GoDaddy presents. But unfortunately, we have to deal with what we have to deal with. So, ooh, Cannabis Party. I want this one. Ooh, Cannabis Party. Ends tomorrow. CannabisParty.com. $105 is the current bid. Let's go check it out in keyword volume. So yeah, El Couch, I'm sure that is not very helpful information. So somebody maybe over on Discord would probably be able to answer that a little better than me. CannabisParty.com, not really any keyword volume. Of course, no money. I see some keyword search. So this is more of a brandable, but just as I was saying earlier, if I can highlight it. Let me see some of these here. Ooh, look at this one down here. Somebody's like cannabis party bus. They're future thinking. I don't think there's such a thing even in Las Vegas, or there's not that in Vegas or California even, to my knowledge. But future, right? Future. This would be a future play domain name for someday when everything is legal and accepted, if that ever happens. Adding it to my watch list. I want that domain name. But I'm going to have to use my gut feeling on it versus data. And in that case, I'm probably only able to go up to $600-700 without wife approval on something like that. We'll see. I'm getting quiet about it because I don't want to talk about it. The data says what the data says. You can always buy any domain you want at any price. I just so happen to like that. Ooh, hospitalperformance.com I like this one a lot, actually. Hospitalperformance.com. 7 days left on this one. This one sounds almost like a fake authority type play. Don't bid on this one. There's no bidders currently. That means you want, oh, there is one bid. Okay, since there's a bid back here, that does mean that you can bid, but the more you bid, the earlier you bid, the more it's going to draw attention to the domain. Wait as long as you can, ideally, just outside of 5 minutes. Let's go check out this. So here's what I'm thinking with this domain name. I like the idea of a authority play. What does that mean? It means in marketing, authority is one of the key triggers that we have. We want to look to authorities, but realistically, we don't have authority over a lot of things. Like we don't, let me get my thought on this. In car commercials, they often talk about, hey, we're JD Power #1, right? Or they have some kind of award they won. Those awards are bullshit, and they really don't really matter, but it gives them something to create and establish authority on. Somebody else, well, that's social proof in that case. Long story short, how do you know which hospital is better than another? There really is no thing. But if hospitalperformance.com allowed either consumers to possibly rate something or you got to watch out, because I know HIPAA creates a bunch of testimonial issues for hospitals and doctors. But basically, if you can create the JD Power Award for hospital performance on hospitalperformance.com, sounds super authoritative. I could see hospitals putting it in a commercial or up on billboards. Rated #1 Cincinnati hospital performance, blah, 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 cancer research, whatever it is. It's a way for them to build authority, therefore they will put money behind it. Not really much money happening on it. So there you go. That's one of those ways that it's almost a brandable, but the brand is kind of established already. Hospital performance, somebody cares about it. There's not much keyword data, but it would sound great in an ad. It's kind of a new category of domain name. We don't talk about that kind of thing very often, but I think it's a thing. It's a real thing. It's a thing. Okay, let's see here. 5 minutes left. I told you I'm going to look through my GoDaddy domains. Look at that, 55 minutes through the show so far, and we've not even made it through the first page of 200 domains. I'm going through the first 200 before I go to my portfolio. So you want to see my GoDaddy purchases over the last few weeks? You got to hold on, because I want to see this. Build value. I like that. I'm going to add to my watch list. Why do I like it? It just sounds good. Sounds like a marketing domain name, a domain name that I've heard before. You want to build value, build value, build value. Let's see here. Fresh map. Fresh is a hot keyword, but not really my thing. I don't want to get fresh. Or maybe I do. Just not with that domain. Party wigs. That's cool. Come on. Investing zone. That would be a good for like a blog or something. Investing zone. I could see that. Let's see. I'm trying to run through these real quick. I want to get to my portfolio. Tidy Dog, that sounds like a brandable that is a pretty solid brandable. It kind of paints a picture, both a picture of what should be on it, which is probably going to be a product, but at the same time, it's generic. Quality Painting Company, look how long that is. I guess you can't see it, it's up at the top. Quality Painting, it's the long one. See the long one? See this space here? My arm disappeared. The space there, well, that means the domain name is long, but Quality Painting Company's kind of okay. Hopefully you can get it for cheap if you get it. And Token Pools sounds like a NFT crypto thing. How many of these do we, there must have been some great domain names today for us not even beat it through. Okay, there we go. Alrighty, there we go. We are through our first 200 domain names. That means it is time. Let me summarize the domain names and we will end on the GoDaddy portfolio. Buildingvalue.com, that is just more of a brandable type domain. Hospital Performance, I like it for just the idea of the authority play. Cannabis Party, future thinking. I will be bidding on that one. Gardenful, brandable domain name. I love domains that make me think of my wife. House Renovations, don't like house, would prefer home, but it's a pretty darn good domain name. I'm going to pursue as a beachhead domain name, trying to target that industry. StimulusCheck.com, don't know what to say. Couple 100,000 searches for the keyword. The only thing is kind of a toxic domain name in my opinion. That's my opinion though. I've not done any research on it, but it's going to go for a lot and probably not be worth it. At least if you want to do something legitimate. GinSpecialist.com, don't mind it. It's cheap. Veganpizza.com had great keyword, kind of a product, but kind of a service. You get to define what it is. There's not much money there for it though. So until you define what's going to be on the site, you might, I don't know what to do with it. I would probably do it as a local service, try to go that way, maybe a product directory with a couple of recipes to get traffic. Changeit.com, expensive and not pursuing. Golfcenter.com, possibly my favorite domain name of the day. The only thing is that you can see it's already going for a good amount of money. Therefore, I'm going to skip that. Bestsupplements.com, a good domain name if you're into the kind of generic domains that are product-based. I feel like supplements are overdone. There's just so many domains. So now we're going into our portfolio. You'll see all the domain names here that I've added to my watch list. Let's go over to my one domain names. Here we go, portfolio time. Portfolio time. Need like a music button for that, and maybe not. Okay, let's see here. So as you'll see on this, most of my domain names here have been purchased as buy now domain names. Basically, the domain names that we've been showing on the show today are auction domain names. If no one bids on the domain name, then in that case, it will go to a buy now, and it goes from $50 down to $5 until it's hand registerable. So you'll see here, check this out. Vacationportraits.com, I mentioned it, I think, last week. I got that thing for $30, which I know that there's businesses out there that basically photographers, independent, create a directory of photographers that will meet you on your vacation and take photos. It's a thing. Already great websites out there. I'm going to be able to compete with them now for $30. I'll take it. Dusty Desk, just liked it for $5. One of the questions I ask myself a lot of times is, would I hand register it? Sure. Dusty Desk sounds like a good blog or something. My Ideation, garbage. Like it's $11, so I didn't mind it. Chili Ninja, I sold FreightNinja.com a few months back. With that, I allocated half of the amount of that to go after keywords related to freight and Ninja, kind of a way of reinvesting the earnings. ChiliNinja.com is one of those domain names. It went all the way down to $5, paid $5 for it, and I mean, I'll probably end up listing it for like $1,200, $1,600. Buy it now, no negotiation. I won't spend any time on it at all. But if somebody out there wants to be the chili ninja, they'll be able to buy it for less than a laptop. I paid $5 for it. Movietruck.com, as you'll see, that's one of the only auctions I've had other than the one down here on the bottom that was months ago, I believe. Movietruck.com, paid a few $100, $338 for it. I like it. It seems like it could be a thing. I once had a dream of putting like games and things, doing a game center and then possibly doing a mobile game center. Movie truck sounds like it could be a thing, like either project on the side of the truck or something. Anyhow, long story short, it was fun enough for me to pay a couple $100 for. Weird reviews, $5. One-man tow, quality tows. Those are just, I'm in towing, so I get some of those. Pot Tourism, was really shocked to get Pot Tourism for $11. And I believe we are into, so we're pretty much out of May as of that point. So there you go. Rec Bags, mentioned that one on the show as well. So there you go. There's the number of domain names that I've purchased over the last month or so, the last few weeks. Not a whole lot. What is that? I've spent like $500 over the last 2 weeks. My wife's happy about that. Asking, and at the end, I'm going to go over these questions. Anything you got? How's the dog groomer business? It's not going at all. There's nothing up on the site as of yet. I really wanted to get it done like 2 years ago. We started to launch a bunch of websites. That's when we launched, DJs.com, the current site that's out there. We also launched photobooths.com, or relaunched it. Long story short, that was at the beginning of COVID. Then we got dog groomers, and our expectation was that we would have a system that would allow us to launch a bunch of domain names in a row. That did not work out, but it is on the short list of domains that will be part of developit.com when we finally get that system up and running. That's what we're building it for. So it's not going, but it is a motivation. It burns me a little bit, and I'm giving you the long answer just to poke myself. You spent $130,000 on dog groomer and doggroomers.com, and you don't have anything on it. What do you think about that, jackwagon? Yeah, I don't like it. Let me see. Yeah, I definitely got some great deals. And I'm asked this a lot. What is the best way to list my domain names? And my answer is on a custom landing page. I don't buy domain names to sell them. So I know we just ran through my portfolio, and I told you that I bought things like Chili Ninja and a couple of those other domain names for the purpose of reselling. I'm going to develop something to put as a custom lander for myself. Currently, most of my domain names go to just like contact us pages. There's not a way to buy it. There's not a way to make even an offer. I do use, I have some domains that if somebody contacts us about a domain, some cases we will create a Dan page with a buy it now price. I don't want to negotiate on domain names. Like, people either buy them or they don't. Like, this is what I think it's worth. You either buy it or you don't. So I do use Dan.com, just like it sounds. Dan.com. Some of my domain names I list on Afternic. By some, I'm talking like 3 or 4. There's very few domains that are part of Dan or part of Afternic. My goal is not to sell. So I say that because I am not an expert of where to list your domain names for sale. If you have the right domain names, the buyer will find the domain name by typing it in or looking it up. So I play the very long game and wait for the one buyer that's going to do it. I do plan on putting together some kind of marketplace in the future. All that to say, the reason why I plan on doing that is I want domains to be rented versus sold. Most of my domains that I had through Epic were being rented versus sold. Renting makes as much sense as selling, in my opinion, and it's less risk. Well, there's still risk. It's cash flow. I like monthly subscriptions and versus selling. everyone that buys domains and sells them, eventually down the road, some point, there's going to be an inventory problem. And you won't be able to buy great domains. We have such opportunity now through expireddomains.net. Look at this. It took us an hour to go through a couple hundred domain names because there were so many good ones to talk about. That's not going to happen down the road. So we are still in a great, I just went through my portfolio. A couple of these domain names, vacationportraits.com, I could find a buyer for that for a few $1,000s. I'm confident pretty quickly. Most of the other ones are just for Drew's fun. Long story short, use Dan, use Afternic. They all take 25% of the freaking cut. It's just absurd because most of the traffic is coming from people typing in the domain name and stuff. Basically, I'm just not a fan of giving up 25% when I know that people are looking for the domain name to buy it. I want everything but the credit card fee. Truth. Okay. Alrighty, well, I am Drew Wash. This is Domain to Profit. Thank you for joining me. I will be back next week, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you've liked. Make sure you subscribed. Make sure you check us out. Follow me over on Twitter as well. I occasionally post more domain stuff. I've been quiet lately. I've been staying off Twitter just from, I was on vacation last week. You know, still did a show, but I was on vacation. But nonetheless, I typically tweet about domain names and small business related stuff over on Twitter. Worth a follow if those things are interesting to you. Otherwise, see you back here, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, where we look through expiring domain names, find the best opportunities available next week, 3 p.m. See you then, and see you next week.
From domain to profit, from a .com to a business idea. Take a domain name, develop an income from domain to profit. We'll show you